This American family has spent 10 years in Hanoi. They've had a normal life, but also gone through a special journey as their son was born with Down syndrome. But to them,
and this child is a gift from God.
Be and thankful to have Evan here with us.
Chúng ta mà nghĩ là hội chứng Down đấy sẽ không tiếp nhận được là không đúng.
People with Down syndrome.
Be able to get a job.
Quan tâm tới mọi người, trao cho các bạn ấy cái cơ hội.
To let them go to school, graduate from college, and go to work. They share that experience, bond with, and give love to each others.
Welcome to Talk Vietnam.
Many thanks to the Viets for saying hello to the audience of Talk Vietnam on our behalf. Michelle and Michael Viet are an American couple who has been living in Hanoi for 10 years. Evan is their second son who was born with Down syndrome. But Evan has a job and lives as independently as possible. Some families would often find a way to protect and care for their disabled child for their whole life, not knowing that this would prevent the child from job opportunities and a chance to live a happy and meaningful life. Therefore, Michelle Beard was motivated to start Imago Work, a vocational training program. Her passion is to cultivate the same opportunities that Evan had for Vietnamese young adults with intellectual disabilities. So thank you, Michelle, Michael and Evan for joining Talk Vietnam today. My first question is for Michael. What have brought you to Vietnam in the first place?
Yes, so we've lived in Asia for about 20 years now. And we used to live in a country called Kyrgyzstan in Central Asia, and we were involved in community development work there. And as our kids started to grow and get older, we found it more and more challenging to deal with their education. And so we wanted to move to a new location that had more opportunities. A friend of ours suggested that we check out Vietnam. So we came to Vietnam, and my wife and I are both educators, so we were able to find lots of opportunities for us to teach here. And then we found lots of opportunities for our kids for schooling, and especially for Evan as well, to be able to go to a school here. And so after being here and falling in love with Vietnam and falling in love with the people, we just decided to move.
Michelle, please tell us a little bit about Evan. How special is he to you and your family?
Evan is just like our other children, and so being able to have a son like Evan has been really special. I think it's taught our other children how to interact with lots of different people who might be different from them, and they care for their brother, you know, so they look out for him. They invite him to be a part of all their activities, which I think has been a huge benefit for Evan to be able to participate with his siblings.
Can you tell us a little bit about the awareness on Down syndrome in the US? Has Evan ever been subject to any kind of discrimination?
So Evan was born 24 years ago, and at that time when he was born, we were in California, and thankfully there were a lot of resources available, a lot of support groups, and so we were able to connect right away with different families who could support us in our journey. When Evan was 3, we moved to Asia, so at that time I didn't feel any kind of discrimination. I do remember one story when we were living in Central Asia, and I wanted to enroll Evan in the local preschool. And so I went in and talked with the director, and I brought Evan with me and explained a few of his differences, and the director was very positive in wanting to receive him. But interestingly, when I turned to leave the office, she said, "Oh, Mrs. Beard," she said, I wonder if something bad must have happened to you that you have a son like him." So that really caused me to think, well, yeah, I guess we've all done bad things in our life, but it caused me to kind of tap deeper into sort of my spiritual worldview, which is that my son is not a punishment, or he's not a curse, he's a gift to our family. And so even though it was a hard, strange experience, it helped me to shape my own views on Evan.
How did you bring up Evan to help him be as independent as he could?
I mean, I think I just remember when he was first born that I just kind of made the decision that, you know, I don't want to over-focus on his disabilities. I want to focus on his abilities. Right from the beginning, we just required that he do the same jobs that all the other children do, and go to school and do activities and get involved in things in the community. We just tried to view him the same way that we viewed the other children, and just give him opportunities to be independent, give him opportunities to make decisions for himself, and create that environment where he's not really different from anyone else in the family.
Please tell us about the education that Evan got during his childhood and later on in college as well. How important was such education to him?
We've always tried to have Evan be in the most inclusive environment possible in a school. Thankfully, Evan has had a variety of schooling opportunities along the way. When we moved to Vietnam, the school where I was teaching, right away the principal was very open to having Evan be a part of the high school community there, and the students at that school really enjoyed, I think, having a friendship with Evan, and to this day he still has friendships with the teachers and the students. After he had finished his high schooling here, then he was the one that asked me what was he going to do for college, and it really got me thinking, wow, what are the opportunities for him to go to college, and how would that work? And actually it was through another expat friend living in Hanoi. She was the one that told us about this college in the US called Shepherd's College. That was such a life-changing experience for Evan, you know, really being able to go to this school far away from mom and dad. You know, he went there, he lived in the dorms just like all the other students, and did the just had all kinds of normal college activities with peers who were a real good fit for him in a program that really fit his needs. And so at that time we saw him really just become an independent adult, and that was actually one of the things that got us starting to think about what that could look like here in Hanoi. You know, could there be some kind of a training program similar to that here? So that really was kind of one of the first things that got us thinking on that track.
We'll talk with you a little bit, Evan. What is your hobby?
My hobby is making movies and dancing and singing.
So you make the movies and upload them to YouTube?
Yes.
What do you like about being a YouTuber?
To be a YouTuber, but I am making my own channels, like making movies.
So what do you love about living here in Vietnam?
I love to come here. I love the food in Vietnam. I like to eat bún chả and go to the beach.
So what did you learn at Shepherd's College?
I learned social skills and health class and cooking class.
Great. Do you like it?
Yes.
Okay. So with that experience, what advice do you want to give other students at Imago Work?
Yes. When they working hard, they'll get a paycheck. If they don't work hard, they don't get a paycheck.
Michael, in your opinion, what are the keys to success in helping people with Down syndrome and those with intellectual disability to become independent in their life?
I think both my experience as a father and as an employer of working with people that have intellectual disabilities, it's really important to allow them to participate and be included in the skills that they're learning. So the way that looks might be when they're learning a new skill, not jumping in and doing things for them or constantly correcting them, but allowing them to discover the skill for themselves, allowing them to make mistakes and to learn through that process.
So with all that experience, what have you been doing and are currently doing to help Evan learn new skills?
Some new skills we've been working on is how to use his phone to get transportation so that he can independently begin to go places. He's been working on his shopping skills. When the store owners or the people working at the cash register are familiar with Evan, know him, then it makes him feel more comfortable. So I think it's a community approach as well, not just our own family trying to be here on our own, but tapping into the neighborhood resources and the people that we know that can also support when he's out and about. Yeah.
I think another important thing for him is having his own social life that's beyond mom and dad, and so he has his own set of friends. He goes to church often on his own on Sunday mornings. He has a group of people that get together once a week of young adults that he goes to, and we're not allowed to go, right? And so just allowing him to have an independent social life as well is very important.
What else do you want to say? Anything else you want to tell the world out there?
Oh, yes.
People are going to watch you on TV, so what do you want to say?
If my brothers are watching this TV, I would say, I am going to say, I miss you a lot, and I wish you can come here to see me.
I'm sure that would happen really soon.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Evan, for joining us on the show today.
Yes.
Over the past 10 years in Vietnam, Michelle met and became friends with other mothers whose children also have Down syndrome. One of these mothers became a very special friend for her and her family.
Đây là trường mầm non của thị trấn, nơi cháu Hùng đang học cùng hòa nhập cùng các bạn.
Let's go.
Hùng, Trần Thị Thắng son is going to Tiên Hưởng Kindergarten in Hương Canh Town, Vĩnh Phúc Province. One of Hung's daily mission, according to him, is allocating lunch ball and food for his classmates.
Các con chơi với bạn Hùng không? Bạn Hùng làm gì giúp các con? Các con thường chơi trò chơi gì với bạn Hùng?
Cháu Hùng bị hội chứng đau bẩm sinh. Khi tôi sinh ra thì cháu Hùng rất yếu. Tôi về nhà tôi rất buồn.
Thắng was keeping her hope up and trying to take care of Hung, but she did not see any improvement in his behavior and reaction to everyone else and the surroundings. But when Hung turned 8 months old, an unexpected joy came to her family when one of her cousins took Michelle to visit her house and share some experience on how to take care of Hung.
Chị tốt lắm. Chị từ một người bên nước ngoài mà chị về đây quá thân thiện đối với gia đình. Đi lại với gia đình là được 7 năm nay rồi. Và gia đình theo phương pháp của chị, nhiều cái kỹ năng của chị Michelle để tập các động tác về chân tay và dạy cháu cách nhìn màu sắc, chỉ các con vật theo các bài tập luyện bế cách của cháu. Từ đấy mà đi cháu đã biết, và cơ bản nhất là cái xung quanh để cháu được hòa nhập cái môi trường, những người bên cạnh.
Từ ngày mà cháu về đây học thì tức là nó cũng có nhiều cái tiến bộ. Thứ nhất là bảo cho biết nghe, mà thứ hai nữa là cũng rất là nhiệt tình với các bạn, chơi với các thứ, và cũng làm những cái việc giúp phục vụ mình. Là học xong là cháu biết là rất là biết là đi cất bản giúp cô giáo. Đấy, rất là tự giác.
Today, Hung's mother asked for him to leave school a little earlier because a special guest is visiting his family.
Con đưa cô Liên. Con mời bác. Rồi, có anh đây.
Come on.
Ok. Thả cái măng này lên chị.
After spending many months taking care of Hung since 2014, now Michelle and her family will visit Thang's family once or twice a year. The two families have become closer over the years. The sympathy and love for disadvantaged children like Hung has brought them together. Michelle usually shares with Hung how to develop necessary skills for Hung, such as how to have a conversation and how to do house chores and keep everything tidy using a daily timetable.
So với lúc mà cháu Hùng 2 tuổi, cháu nằm đâu nằm đấy. Cái cháu yếu, cổ cháu cúi xuống này này, cháu không gục và không ngóc được lên. Giờ này thì Hùng tự tin hơn lúc bé. Tốt lắm, gia đình phấn khởi lắm.
So Michelle, can you tell us a little bit about your special friendship with Miss Trần Thị Thắng? How did you guys first meet?
So actually I met Thang through a friend of ours, a mutual friend of mine. Her name is Nga. She one day just approached me and said, Michelle, someone in my family just had a baby and we're pretty certain that the baby has Down syndrome. Would you be willing to go out and meet with her? So me and my friend Nga and Evan went with me at that time. We just went out to Tan's home and got to meet the family and meet baby Hung. At that time, I think he was maybe 7 or 8 months old. He was very, very young. And I guess my first impression of being in their home was just the love that family, I could just see the love that the family had for each other and for their new baby. The second impression I had was that they felt a little bit maybe a little bit unsure, uncertain about this baby's future and not sure about what resources they could tap into to help their baby to grow. But I got to hear her story and again, it brought me back to my story about when the director of the preschool told me that, I had probably done something very bad in my life and that's why I had a child. And I heard Thang say something a little similar, like she wondered if maybe it's because of something in her life that she has this child. And right away I just remember just feeling so strongly to impress on her that, no, this child is actually such a special gift, that you are a mom that has been given this child and you have what you need to raise this child. Right away I just tried to think about what resources could I connect her to and tried to encourage her to begin to just treat him just normal, like she was treating her other children. Evan was with me, so at that time I think Evan was 15 years old and he was, able to just be a kind of an example. And I remember her being, Hum is going to read, he's going to play basketball, he's going to be able to do all these things. And I said, yeah, this is what he'll be able to do, these things. And I think just being able to have a meal together and share stories together and for her to have that hope to see someone a little bit older and another family that's already walked the journey, I think was helpful for her. Early on in the first few years, up until maybe Hum was 3 or 4, I was able to visit more frequently and help her go and talk to the local preschool and encourage her to kind of, just be able to get him into whatever schooling opportunities that she could. And then she began to connect me with other families in her community, and I know she's also been a support and encouragement to other families now.
I believe it's a really long journey,
Yeah.
and at certain point in that journey they might have doubts on whether they could go on. So what kind of mental support did you give Thang in particular and other mothers?
I think the first thing is to tap into that deeper part of who you are as a mom and to believe this child has a lot of potential and that you are going to have to swim upstream a little bit. Like, it's not going to be easy to find the resources. You're going to have to advocate for it, look for opportunities for your child, treat your child just like you would your other children. Give them responsibilities at home. He might not grow at the pace that everyone else is growing, but he will grow.
For the mothers out there who are now still somewhat confused on how to raise their kids with Down syndrome, what advice would you give them?
First step is just to begin to do research and just ask around and get connected with some of these networks, because these families have already gone ahead of you. So they're out there and they will really support you and they can really encourage you. Make sure you're looking for educational opportunities that are around you. Do what you can. with the resources that are available to you. There are early intervention centers. So early intervention is where we start at an early age and really try to teach step by step the skills, just because it takes these children a little bit longer. As they get a little bit older, then it's about helping them to be independent at home. So making sure they have their chores, they're keeping their room clean, they're learning how to do dishes. Those seem like simple things, but you start early with them, they will have a lot more success. Look for opportunities outside of the home to get them involved in activities. The young people with Down syndrome, with autism, that we see the most successful today as young adults are the ones whose families brought them into the community, looked for opportunities for them.
Michael, would you like to add anything to that?
For both mom and dad is to not maybe believe some of the lies that you hear about your child. It's just really a mindset shift for the parent to see their child as the potential rather than the disability, and looking at what are the unique contributions that my child is going to make in society, and how can I as a parent and how can we as a community come around this child and give them the best opportunity to develop the gifts that they have. Yeah.
So how did the story of Thắng and her son and those alike in Vietnam inspire you to start the work at Imago Work?
Yeah, so at that time I started thinking, well, who can I connect her with? If I can bring other people into their world, that would be a help, you know. So at that time I tried to organize like some kind of physiotherapy sessions with a friend that I had that was a physiotherapist, and that was a really good experience. And then I saw that maybe somehow being able to use our connections as expats here could further open up more opportunities for these families. At that same time, Evan was attending Shepherd's College in the U.S., and I saw what a difference that was making with him and how he was becoming more independent and really enjoying his life. And I thought, wow, I really would dream of a day when we could have some kind of training like that here.
Và giá của một bánh chocolate này là 45.000. Vậy các em có đủ tiền để mua không?
Có. Coca giá chai Coca là
Có bao nhiêu?
12.000. This money.
This is one of the activities in a course at Imago Work. The center was established to help young adults with intellectual disabilities develop a sense of independence and dignity by teaching them life skills, social skills, and vocational skills.
Imago Work really values bringing dignity to these students and really promoting independence, and through the curriculum and through just how the program is set up, it's really the goal is for them to not be in this program forever, but just that it's temporary and then they will be able to get a job.
Imago Work focuses on people with intellectual disabilities, especially young adults, because they are ready to go to the community and live independently.
Ở Imago Work thì chú trọng dạy các bạn ý về kỹ năng sống, kỹ năng xã hội và đào tạo nghề, cách sử dụng tiền như thế nào, rồi cách đảm bảo an toàn như thế nào. Trong một ngày thì lịch trình của các bạn ấy gồm khá là nhiều các hoạt động và vừa được xuống dưới quán Simple Coffee để thực hành.
Beside regular activities for the students to develop and practice their skills, Imago Work also helps them develop their potential and emotional intelligence.
Trước đây, Lan Anh cũng có môi trường rất là tốt, gia đình, xã hội, các cô, thầy và các bạn bè. Thì ở trong cái môi trường đấy tôi nhận thấy là Lan Anh phát triển theo chiều rộng. Ví dụ như là múa, tập võ, tập hát. Sau 18 tuổi thì có một cái khoảng trống trong giáo dục. Các bạn không có trường và không có chương trình để mà dạy, để hiểu về bản thân của mình, về sâu sắc bên trong nội tâm, thì bạn có sự trầm tĩnh hơn. Lan Anh cũng như quan tâm tới mọi người.
At Imago Work, the students are being taken care of, listened to, and given opportunities to discover themselves, with hopes that they will be able to do a lot more, be respected, live independently, have a job, and be happy.
So, who are your current students and how you train them at Imago?
Okay, so we have 5 students right now, so ranged from the ages from 15 up to 29. Yeah, and so they are working with us every day. We have lessons in our classroom space, and then throughout the week they also have time where they go into Simple Coffee and they do practical training with our staff there. And then there's a few local businesses that are in the surrounding area that we go to on a weekly basis, and we volunteer there. It gives our students a chance to practice.
Can you tell us a little bit about one of your students, Lanang?
So Lanang is one of our students that came to us actually from Ho Chi Minh City. Well, Lanang also has Down syndrome, like Evan. She is from a family that I would say is a good example of how to bring your child out into the community, get them involved in activities. So from a very early age, Lanang's mom was taking her shopping, taking her into the community, getting her involved with dance, getting her involved with martial arts and piano and all kinds of activities. Her mom pushed for her to be in school. So in a sense, when she came to us, it's like, well, I don't know, what can we do for someone like her who already has great skills? But I think what we offer to their family is further training, especially maybe in the social skills area, in the life skills area, and they're ready to put her in the next level, which is to be as independent as possible. So she practically can live on her own with very little support.
Yeah. While working in hospitality, which is a field that includes a lot of interaction with other people, what kind of skills would they be able to learn?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think in that type of environment, that's where some of the social skills become important, where they learn how to greet people, they learn how to smile, they learn how to have a basic conversation, and they learn the different types of conversations that you have. So learning about conversations you have with your family at home versus conversations you might have with your coworkers and customers even. And those are all different conversations. And we might take those for granted, but actually teaching those explicitly to our students helps them when they go into an environment and they're greeting people.
Hello, I'm Hoàng.
Hoàng was born in 2000. He had multiple disabilities at birth, congenital mute and deafness, and slow intellectual development.
Mới thời gian đầu mới đẻ Hoàng ra ấy, Hoàng bị như thế không ấy được ấy, thì cũng nản bởi vì là con nó không ấy được bằng những người khác. Ít khi dám cho đi đâu, bởi vì cho đi đâu cứ sợ, lúc nào cũng có mắc cạn.
Hoàng has slowly learned to become independent. He studied at a support center to develop his life skills.
Con ơi, họ từ trong này cơ mà. Họ từ đây họ ra. Đấy. Khi mình đùm bọc nó quá nhiều thì khi ra ngoài kia xã hội, ra chơi với các người khác, con mình không tự lập được một cái gì cả, tự nhiên nó bị thiệt thòi.
Simple Coffee and Imago Work cooperate to give people with disabilities a chance to practice their life skills and vocational training. Simple Coffee gave Hoàng an opportunity to develop his skills. Started off as an apprentice for a few hours a week. Now Hoàng comes to Simple Coffee 3 times a week and learns for 4 hours each time. Hoàng is being trained to work as an employee at the cafe, doing many tasks from sweeping the floor, cleaning the cups, and making and serving coffee. Hoàng also teaches sign language classes for the staff outside working hours, hosted by Simple Coffee.
Bọn mình có tìm cái cách để mà có thể giao tiếp với bạn ý. Đầu tiên thì có thể là sẽ phải từng bước một, hướng dẫn cho bạn ý từng tí một, và sau khi làm quen dần rồi thì bạn sẽ nhớ. Và đôi khi mình cũng không cần thiết là phải bảo bạn ấy là làm cái gì đâu, nhưng mà chỉ cần đưa nguyên liệu ra hoặc là đưa những dụng cụ ra là bạn ấy có thể biết là mình sẽ phải làm gì rồi.
Ngày xưa đi học thì nó có thói quen là này bởi vì nhà mình từ mình xuống trường nó rất là xa. Thế nên là nhiều hôm mưa to quá là cứ gọi điện xin cô là cô cho con nghỉ. Thế nhưng mà đi làm thì là lên đấy thì là cái tác phong ấy nó khác. Gọi đi làm là dậy sớm lắm.
Michael mentioned earlier the fact that it's not the children, the people who has disability, but the society has a disability, as in we cannot welcome them properly or give them opportunity. How would that affect the outcome of a training course at Imago Work?
I mean, that does affect it, because if we really, our whole model depends on the community changing its mindset, business owners. We want them to see that, these young people bring different gifts and different skills to the workplace, and it adds to the company's value. People look for companies that are socially responsible. That's something that people these days care about more than just making a profit, making the most money possible.
And what I would add as a business owner is that there's like an old model of business, and the old model was you had one basic bottom line, which is profit. But that's an old model. Most businesses today are shifting to a multiple bottom line model where it's not just profit, but it's environmental responsibility. And then there's the social bottom line. Are you giving back to your community?
Today, Evan Beard isn't going to work at Simple Coffee like he usually does. Instead, he's going to work part-time at Joma Bakery Cafe twice a week. Joma Bakery Cafe is a chain of coffee shops in Laos and Vietnam that cooperates with social enterprises to employ people with visual or hearing impairments or other kinds of disabilities. Joma Bakery Cafe is currently employing 35 people with disabilities and 41 disadvantaged people, representing 20% of its workforce.
Ở Joma là nhiều nhân viên là những người mà khiếm khuyết, ví dụ như các bạn câm điếc. Thực ra với Joma thì cũng là muốn là để trao cho các bạn ấy cái cơ hội, thì mọi người đều phải tôn trọng lẫn nhau, coi các bạn mà có khiếm khuyết một chút thì cũng như là những nhân viên bình thường.
Các bạn khiếm khuyết khi làm việc ở đây, khi được giao tiếp với cả khách hàng thì sẽ giúp các bạn tự tin hơn, giao tiếp ổn hơn.
Joma has built up a great brand in the region. Where we were working with a social enterprise, we've employed around 100 employees that our competitors wouldn't hire. We've been able to give them opportunities and many of them to progress on in life. We believe in making a better community, giving people equal opportunities and a chance at a better life.
So how has the experience at Simple Coffee changed Huang's for the better?
It was interesting when I was talking with the school that he went to. One of the things that they said is when he was going to school, he's just like every teenager. Doesn't like to get up in the morning, doesn't like to get ready to go to school. But when he started at Simple Coffee, there was this shift, because as a student you're receiving all the time, right? You're getting information, you're being taught, right? But moving into the workplace, Huang was also able to give now. He was able to contribute. He was able to add something. And that gave him a sense of dignity and pride. And we saw it right away in his behavior and his attitude. On the days that he goes to work at Simple Coffee, he would get up early and get ready because he was excited to go to work. It's been a learning opportunity for us as a business. We learn as much from Huang as perhaps he has learned from us. He learns job skills, and we learn how to work with people that have different abilities. And so that's been really important, because I think when we think about disability, we often think that person has a disability, but we don't often realize that society has a disability as well. We're disabled in our ability to include others. Huang has helped us overcome our disability in the coffee shop by becoming more inclusive.
So what are some of the biggest challenges for people with intellectual disabilities, like those students at Imago Work, during their education and vocational training process, if any? We can take Huang as an example. How have you helped him overcome these challenges?
One of our biggest challenges is finding qualified, very patient, very loving teachers who have a real heart for working with students like this. We're very thankful. We have two amazing teachers, Cô Văn and Cô Nhung. I think another challenge is just that they've been used to having everything done for them or being protected or not having a lot of opportunities to make decisions for themselves, even sometimes as simple as choosing what clothes they want to wear or what activities they want to get into. And so teaching our students how to make decisions, how to be more independent, not doing it for them, letting them, like Mike mentioned earlier, make mistakes sometimes. So helping them to become comfortable with independence and decision making on their own.
What about the outcome? It's a really important thing. After people like Hoàng and your other students at Imago Work finish their training, what companies would recruit them? Are you searching for answers for this, and what are the results so far?
At this stage, we're not ready to provide placement because we're still at the beginning of the year. So the partnerships right now are more just opportunities for our students to come and work in a different workplace. So those are the kind of outcomes that we're looking for right now, is other companies that would be willing to open up their workspace for an hour or two a week. And allow our students to come in and learn some new skills that are specific to that workplace. And then down the road, our hope is that we are able to place all of our students.
What kept you stay in Vietnam, in Hanoi in particular, for 10 years?
So from a family perspective, it's always felt easy and safe to live here. It's a very welcoming place. The longer we stay here, the more this feels like home to us. So, and then I think this is maybe a new season for us for being here, that we didn't really actually come here to start Imago Work or even to start Simple Coffee. It's something that has developed as we've been here. But now we're seeing that if there's a way we can be a resource, if there's a way we can be an inspiration or connection for other families like our family, we want to do that as long as we can.
How has your connections with Vietnam changed over the years?
Maybe this is, I don't know if it's typical for Westerners or not, but we sort of came in maybe with this idea that, oh, we're from the West, we know everything, and and we're going to come here and teach because we're teachers, so we're going to come here and teach. And I think what's shifted over the years is we've become much more students, much more learners, because we've discovered there's a lot that Vietnam has to offer, both culturally and just being a model of a country that's progressing and doing well.
So having lived in Vietnam for so long and made your own observations of the cultures and the lifestyle, how do you think people with disabilities are integrating into society in Vietnam, and how does it impact the life of your own son, Evan?
Yeah, I think it's very promising. I think over the last 10 to 20 years, a lot of good advocacy work has been done by different organizations, and I'm very hopeful. I really believe that we're in a new day, and I think it's the individuals themselves who are speaking up more. It's the families themselves who are also, speaking up more, advocating for individuals with disabilities. We're beginning to see changes in the way, even within buildings being built, structures being created that are more accessible to young people, schools that are being more open. New young teachers coming out of training in special education, some of them are starting their own centers and using really good current methodologies for early intervention. We're really hopeful. I think it's changing a lot.
I want to share with you some activities of my daily routine. papers.
Now, what is your biggest dream for Evan?
But I think I just want him to be able to be in a job and be happy doing his work every day, taking care of his own home environment and having good community around him of friends and family.
What about a dream for the students at Imago Work?
Yeah, I think the same. I want them to find very meaningful, purposeful work that they can go to every day and find relationships at their workplace, be accepted in their neighborhoods, have friendships, continue to learn new skills.
Up to what is your next plan for Imago Work? Plans, multiple?
Yeah, so I mean, I envision, I would love to see that in 5 years from now, you know, we are a full vocational training center with at least 20, 25 students, 5 job coach trainers, and a network of businesses. Minimum, we need 5 businesses, 10 businesses, even more. I would love 100% placement for our students. Ultimately, like I mentioned earlier, it would be normal to go into any hotel or restaurant or any office place, workplace, and you know, if 20% of the typical population have some type of disability, we should see that represented in our workplaces and in our schools, and we should be proud of that and aim for that, make that a goal, not a like something to be ashamed of, but that we see that balance also in the workplaces and in education institutions.
Yeah, and Imago Work has, our vision statement is actually bigger than Imago Work. It isn't just about making Imago Work successful, but our vision is to start a movement of inclusive workplaces. To achieve that vision, we're going to do our part as Imago Work by providing vocational training, but it's going to require businesses to be open to including people in the workplace. It's going to require other vocational training companies to develop. It's going to require
more schooling, more school in the early years.
More early intervention schooling and opportunities for children. So yeah, the vision is much bigger than what we can accomplish, but that's why we're doing it.
So thank you so much, Michelle and Michael and Evan, for joining Talk Vietnam today in such a great conversation. I really appreciate what you have done for young adults with intellectual disabilities in Vietnam to gain an opportunity for a normal life and to find a job that they can live on. And I wish that your work at Imago Work will be even more successful in the future. And that's all for Talk Vietnam today. Thank you for watching, and until next time.
Evan here makes us laugh and just have a good time together. We really enjoy times that we go out together.
Just might need some extra supports in how to learn certain skills. They want to work, they want to be a part of the community.
People with Down syndrome, they tend to be very open to other people, and they're very kind. And so we can learn a lot about how to be open and how to be kind and how to treat other people with respect.
Mình không để ý gì đến xung quanh đâu, mình chỉ cần là sẽ cố gắng dạy cho con các kỹ năng và yêu thương con. Rồi mọi người nhìn thấy Hùng đi học rồi được hòa nhập như thế, ai cũng thích lắm, rất là thân thiện.
Em hỏi tên là Ngọc Lan Anh, là nickname là Lola. Em thích pha gà. Là mà mẹ là thích uống này là ngon nữa, là chữa ra mà mẹ uống.
Like, I like Christmas and some Christmas songs. And on Christmas Eve,